Disclaimer. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered as facts. Nothing that is said about any person, organization, gaming company, or sport topic in general should be taken as facts, as well as any talk about any political, religious, or medical topics. As for medical topics, at all times you should speak to a licensed medical professional before any opinion is considered. Everything that is said on this podcast is opinion-based only. Viewers and listeners' discretion is advised.
Welcome to the DrVtach Show. This podcast is a long-form conversation hosted by DrVtach with the top guests in the world of esports. All from owners, pros, semi-pros, former pros, and content creators of many games. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DrVtach Show. Well, today is an honor. We have a special guest, and we made this happen. This guy is a day ahead of us, okay? It's crazy how to set up this interview, this episode. But I'm going to introduce you guys to a really, really phenomenal guy. I hear good things about him. It's from Team WYLDE, Rene. Rene, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
Thank you, man. So what you been up to? How's it been going? What you been up to lately?
I've been so busy. I've been working all weekend on our academy trials. We as WYLDE are incredibly committed to Rainbow Six Siege, and we thought our next step in Rainbow Six Siege was to hold an academy team. So over the weekend, I've trialed 120 unique players.
Really?
Yeah.
You should have told me. I know one that's going to fit. He's phenomenal.
Okay. Well, you can still send them through. You never know. Maybe there's the back door I could get them through.
I'm going to tell you, this guy, want me to be really, really up front?
Yeah.
If they would say, you want Bolo, you want him, I would choose him.
Bolo.
I would.
Dark Zero.
No.
Oh.
He's on one of my episodes.
Okay.
And I interviewed him. It's one of those people that they're underrated, and the problem is that a lot of people don't know about him because he is from South Africa.
Okay.
And he was in like what you call a pro scene over there, like the T1, T2,
Yeah.
T1s, but it's kind of different. And he's not that much recognized in the United States or other place, only down there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because I'm like, bro, you're like phenomenal. You could play. You're ready to be in the pro leagues. His name is Mario.
Okay.
That's his gamer tag. Okay. Really, really, really good. And I have other friends that have been keeping an eye on him. So from different organizations. But his concern of I think his age, I think he's 25, 26, something like that. So I tell him, listen, this is your reaction time. You still play good. You're playing phenomenal. And I said, if I had a team, you would be my first pick.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
He's
send
like,
them through.
Really? Yeah, I'll send you his info, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those diamond in the rough, those diamonds that you just rarely find.
Yeah.
How hard is it for you to find good players?
That's an interesting question because it depends on which title you operate, right? Like, so I'm Esports Manager at WYLDE. That means I'm responsible for every single title that we're in. So not just Rainbow Six Siege. And I help where I'm needed. So we're in Rainbow Six Siege, we're in Valorant, we're in Trackmania, we're in FIFA, and always when I go down this list, I miss one, and Rocket League.
Oh my God.
So I've got 5 titles that I'm responsible for. And depending on the title, I think we have almost in every single title an incredible track record of finding young and upcoming talent. I could probably go on a 15-minute tangent about every single one of the titles.
Oh, that doesn't matter, man. The stage is yours, man. This is your episode. This is about you. Okay. I was from 4 countries. People were listening to me, went to 25 countries. Now I'm being listened to. They just sent me a report. You've been have listeners in over 46 countries.
Wow.
So we got people listening from Taiwan. So they're listening to you.
Okay, then let's take the what I think is the most beautiful story of scouting young talent, right? We were in Valorant in the French league last year, not this year anymore. We took a step back. But through our Valorant career as WYLDE, we were incredibly successful at identifying talent that went up to VCT, what would be called Tier 1 in Siege. We've had 14 unique players play for us in the duration of 2 years. Out of those 14 unique players, 5 have made it to Tier 1. Wow. Which we're very proud of. And some of them, being totally honest, we were a bit lucky. But I would say at least 3 of them were deliberately found and invested in. But the most beautiful story of all is a young gunner called Emirhan, also known as Hero with an I. We found Hero when he was 16, playing in national Dutch competition, the Netherlands, which is in Valorant seen as a very lower level of competition. We found him by just scouring VLR.gg and Liquipedia, and we saw that he stood out, that he performed well. We watched one of the streams, saw that he did incredibly well, and we're like, you know what? Let's give this young kid a shot at a trial with the team and see how he does. And he did well. Kept challenging and helping him and making him grow, build a bond with the family, get to know the family as well, as that's the most important support system for every single player. And he got onto the team to play the French competition with us. Now he was one of the, if not the youngest player in the French competition. And he did okay, let's say the first split. There's 2 splits. But between split there was some internal turmoil, and we were trying to figure out what we do. And we stuck by our guns, and we said, no, he's good enough. He'll get there. We just need a change in coaching staff. So we changed our coach, brought in a more bit of a tougher coach, let's say, that was necessary to get the team together, and figured out how they should play together. They became stronger. So a lot of credit to that coach, named by Pal, now coaches for Focus. And he put Hero on more comfortable and orthodox roles, and he shined. He did absolutely incredible. I think he finished top 5 in the league in terms of statistics as a young kid. We then chose to take a step back from Valorant. We let him go for free to wherever he wanted to do, whatever he wanted. He joined the Turkish organization, played there for 3 months, and most recently has been picked up by Fnatic to replace Leo in VCT. He's played 3 maps with, 3 best of 3s with Fnatic, and he's won them all after Fnatic had a little bit of a slump. And now he also got an MVP on the most recent one he's played. So we're incredibly proud of a journey of what I think was an undiscovered diamond in the rough, like you said.
Yeah.
And we've helped him from going to obscurity to being on one of the best teams in the world in a year and a half. And I couldn't be more proud.
Wow. Isn't it amazing that a talented player, you just don't know, but you just get this one unique that a lot of people just like don't even look at, and then comes to be like one of the best, a phenomenal player. It reminds me a lot, and I mentioned this a lot in the podcast. You probably don't, I don't know if you follow American football.
Not really.
Okay, but there's a guy, he's a quarterback, throws the ball to the wide receivers and everything. So was Tom Brady. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes heard of him. Tom Brady, when there was a moment in scouting and scout when teams were out to look for a player, they never looked at him because he couldn't run fast. He run really funny. He wasn't quick. So they're like, forget about him. No. And then one coach said, okay, I'm going to pick you up. Oh, I'm sorry, not the coach, the owner. The owner says, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. And he told the owner, you will never regret this chance you gave me. Come to know it, he is the greatest quarterback of all time. He has won 7 Super Bowls, basically saying 7 World Cups of FIFA. Okay.
That's insane.
Okay, insane. 7.
Yeah.
7. I mean, the guy is crazy good. Now, all those teams that just didn't look at him, that passed him by, they regret it so much.
Yeah, and I believe in that overlooking, right? So on the weekend when we trialed 120 unique players, I use a scoring system that I make public to them so that they're aware of, that doesn't score them based on individual stats. It bases them on, do you win or not? And I don't really care if you go 0-10 or you go 20-0. As long as you win,
Correct.
I will take a look at you and what you're doing and how you're doing, because eventually that's the most important metric.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, on Rainbow Six Siege is very, very, very different. You could probably go, let's say on a match you go 2-6, but your call outs are so pinpoint, so good. You're giving out the best call outs ever. The team is eventually winning.
Yeah.
Because of your call outs. And you're just telling everybody, okay, this guy's upstairs, this guy's on the bottom, watch out, he's on the stairs, look, he's on stairs. And then you're giving out all that, information, you tend to win.
Yeah, 100%.
I know one person like that. I used to play with him on console. He would give so much detail. He would always go negative, but without him, we'll lose. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Without him, we lose. We just tell him, listen, go Capcan. Forget about it and hide, Just do something, but just give out those call-outs. And he was so good at them.
And it helps so much. And one of my favorite movies that you probably know, Moneyball, I think encapsulates that so much right there. There were so many intangibles in baseball. I would say one of the sports that has the best base to run statistics on, because it always repeats the same scenario and changes variables, but the scenario is the same. Whilst in Siege, it's a bit different because the foundation changes, the map changes, and it doesn't work the same way. But there are so many intangibles in esports that I believe nobody really understands yet. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, I am the end all and be all of guys that can spot talent. No, I'll try to have a metric that just sees what they do, decide how good they are, instead of me trying to figure it out with my eye.
True. Do you also look at a factor, how they work together as a team?
Yeah.
The chemistry?
It's incredibly important. I think, especially with young minds, the talent flourishes when they're in a place where they feel comfortable, where they feel relaxed and focused. And if you are not feeling those feelings, it doesn't matter if you're the best player in the world, you will not perform to your capabilities. So having a team that has people that can create that atmosphere is incredibly important.
That is so true. That is so true. That's why a lot of these teams win, is the main ingredients is the chemistry.
Yep.
Michael Jordan, which I think everybody in the world knows who he is, his team won 6 championships, basically back to back. He took 1 year off because of other reasons, and he went to baseball, and then he came back and won another.
Wait,
3.
Michael Jordan played baseball?
No, he played. Yeah, he played one time baseball. He got out of one. He left basketball, retired. I think his father or mother died. I forgot the story. And then he played with the White Sox for I think 1 year, and it was just brutal. And then he came back to basketball and won another 3, did another 3-peat. It was like, dude, you're insane.
Yeah.
But the chemistry of the team was so perfect, was so good that they just won. Mm-hmm. I believe in it. The chemistry is so important nowadays, because if you have one spoiled apple in the group, it will damage everything.
Yeah. 100%.
Just completely ruin everything. The guys are not going to play happy. They're going to play disappointed.
Yeah, and if you take a look at that, right? Like chemistry, I would allude to culture. I think a team culture is incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem that I don't know how this will be. I see it as a problem. Maybe other people don't see it as a problem, right? How this would be then quote unquote fixed. If you are playing on a sports team, right, and your buddy is just absolutely taking the piss out of it and not being serious for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, in esports, you don't have the option to just say to that buddy, "Okay, you're out for today. I don't need you on the playing field today. You're not helping everybody. You're making everybody annoyed and lose their focus. So you're going to sit out on today and you can come back tomorrow." And esports practice is structured in a way that you need everybody there all the time and 100% in their mindset. And to me, that you can't ask that, especially for these young minds, to be that level of professionalism if they don't even really know each other, because most of the esports is still online. So I'm looking forward to a time where that issue gets addressed esports wide to figure out how do we deal with that.
That's interesting because it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there could be somebody that's really good, but his buddy is very toxic. And how to deal with that type of situation, I think also it revolves on the maturity of the player. And if he has a friend that is very toxic or something, he can't, I don't know. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
It is really tough because you cannot have that. Some people take esports very serious. Some they're too young.
Yeah,
And I know they got to be 18. A majority of all the games got to be 18, right?
I think you'll be surprised. So we're in Rocket League. In Rocket League, you have to be 13.
In Rocket League, you got to be 13. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and even if you think about it, right, until you're, like, let's say in your mid-20s, sometimes still very hard to control your emotions. So even though everybody has a bad day, everybody has an off day, everybody sometimes life just hits you, but
True.
You can't take a break in esports ever. And in Valorant, you see it now more and more that people are trying to figure out how they do that. But I think it's still something that I personally am very interested in. How will esports solve the mental health problem whilst these teenagers or young adults are getting put in these pressure cookers where they have to perform every single minute that they're playing?
Now, does your organization have a team psychologist?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Does he or she, talk to these players like on a daily basis or weekly? I mean, there's not usually daily, but on a weekly basis, or
We supply them to the players that express the need. We think as well that the team culture is very important to be guided by the coach in question, and the coach that we put in place are people that are very aware of those situations and always keep us very much into the loop. We do regular check-in with every single one of our players to see where they are and how are they doing, and give them the breaks necessary when things arise. Even our CEO gets involved when people have certain feelings that they have trouble with dealing with, as we understand the responsibility that we bear to all these young adults, some even young teenagers, in what kind of ecosystem we're placing them in and how we can support them the best way.
Wow, that's nice. That's really good. So there's two owners in this organization, right? And I know Usain Bolt is one of them.
So there are multiple. I think there are three individual owners in terms of Usain Bolt is one of the co-owners. Then there's David Cronin, and there's Stephen Daly.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow, so that's three.
Yeah, Steve and David are, let's say, the business heads behind this. We in WYLDE firmly believe that esports should be business first. Mm-hmm. As much as I have the passion to work 28 hours on the weekend, right, to run these siege trials, eventually you want to be able to pay the bills to the players and the promises that you've made and the contracts that you've signed with them. Passion gets you far, but once that there's no money anymore, then out of passion you will make promises that you can't fulfill, which eventually will then make certain young adults that are sacrificing a part of their future for the benefit of the company, for you, and of course themselves. And if you don't follow up on that, then huge sums of money do not end up with the people that were promised.
Yeah. It all comes down to business.
Yeah. And that's the reason why with WYLDE, I've had offers to join other organizations. But I'm incredibly loyal to WYLDE because I believe that here we're creating a foundation where we can continue to build upon and not take unnecessary financial risks, as beautiful as they might sound, right? Like FTX and TSM. I think we all know what happened there. And if you didn't, I think there was like a $40 million deal between the FTX and TSM. FTX went bust because their business model was not, I think, legit, which resulted in TSM taking an incredibly hard hit. So we're very conscious of who we get a partnership with.
Get a partnership with what? Say again?
We're very conscious of who we go in partnership with.
I get it. It was just cut off for like a split second.
My apologies.
Yeah, TSM, geez, that was brutal.
Yeah.
But then again, allegedly there was rumors. Like I said, allegedly, I'm not going to go concrete on this. They were overpaying a lot of people, and probably their finance advisor or something didn't kind of structure this appropriately and say, okay, I'm going to pay this guy this amount. And they were just like spending the money like crazy and just overpaying. Those are like I said, rumors and allegedly. So that's something like not good, because then when there's moments that things get really tight and things are, dry, you need thirst, you're thirsty, you need money. You don't have nothing. And then with that legal issue that they went through, and I think it's with Bitcoin or something like that, that was brutal.
Yeah. And it's, I think it's due that this is an emerging market. And when there's an emerging market, investor money always comes in, and they try to outcompete others by creating a financial situation where they have the advantage and you can't keep up. And that's very difficult. We've spoken to an org that maybe some of your older listeners might recognize, Flipside Tactics. Does it ring a bell?
Not quite yet. I don't go that far.
Okay, well,
there's so many orgs out there that I'm still learning them all.
Okay, at some point, Simple played for them, the CSGO player.
Oh, okay, CSGO.
Yeah, well, they were in CSGO, they were in Rocket League, they won the Rocket League Season 2 World Championships, and when we talked with them, they just got out-competed in the financial department. They couldn't keep up with the rising salary costs that were demanded by players because other people were able to pay it. And eventually they got out-competed on the financial front.
Wow.
Yeah. In my opinion, it was a very... I don't want to use the word promising, right? But it was a very interesting org when I was into esports, when I wasn't working in it yet.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, to see winning teams, organizations that are winning, they all of a sudden, due to these mistakes about financial issues, how they flop, how they just crash. And people think, wait, your guys are the champions. You just won last year. What are you doing? You're no longer with us. Yeah. There's more to the back end than what is shown.
And esports, it still has so much to grow. It's still such a young business, and so much things still have to be figured out. And every day you see something that will change probably in the future. But it's an incredible, passionate environment, and every time you get surprised by the community and how lovely they are. Like, so over the weekend when I ran those trials, I didn't have a rule set. I didn't have like, guys, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to use these skins, or these are the list of the bugs that you're not allowed to do right in Siege. None of that. I just said to all of them, we're going to play under gentleman's rules today. And it's that simple as that is. And if you break a gentleman's rule, then eventually we'll find out. And your chances to becoming a player in our Rainbow Six Academy will drop significantly. And throughout the day, we've played, well, how much would it be? It's 10 times 550 and 8 times 540. We've played 90 games of Siege, and I didn't have a single complaint filed to me about cheating, about someone using a skin that's really hard to see, or someone using a bug that's not allowed to be. And I'm so happy to see that when you give individuals an opportunity, when you give them the freedom and the responsibility to act right, that they do. Because a lot of people told me beforehand, when I said I'm going to not run a rule set, they laughed and said, oh, everybody's going to do this, everybody's going to do that. But the community is incredible.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That is really nice. You guys have it really structured. You got a very, no wonder Wild hired you. you know what you're doing, man. You got it
I
down
still
to
have a
the
lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn, right? It's still a new business environment. And like we say in WYLDE management, even top management say every day is a school day. Every day we're learning. And today I'm learning about podcasts.
Oh. Yeah, my podcast is just different. I just keep it like a Joe Rogan style. I just tell people it's sort of like Joe Rogan. Just listen to Joe Rogan, then you kind of know it's a little bit more laid back. Some other podcasters, they concentrate on one thing and and they stick on one topic and all this stuff. But I like to branch out and talk about other stuff.
Joe's fun. When I cycle back and forth to work, I always put him or Lex Fridman on.
Yeah.
If I want to be a bit happy and go lucky, I put Joe on. If I want to be serious and learn something, I put Lex on.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because each podcaster, they have different styles, and one is unique to the other.
What's your favorite podcaster?
Oh, it's Joe. Most definitely Joe. I like Tiger Belly, but Tiger Belly is just more like the goofing around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly Joe I listen to. He brings some really interesting people onto the podcast.
Yeah.
And is like, okay, I'm going to learn from this guy. Or there's some ones that I just don't learn or don't get educated in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the type of person that I like to learn. When he brings in Jordan Peterson, something like that, it's like, okay, let's listen to this. This is going to be interesting.
Always interesting. A few episodes ago, he had a guy on that believed that humans have, in the time of Egypt, were helped by aliens to build the pyramids and everything. And when I listen to it, right, the guy makes sense when you think what he says, but you're like, it's reaching, but it's so cool that I want to believe it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. It's like, man, it's so convincing. It's like, dude, this is wild. It sounds, really, really, really good.
Yeah.
But then, you got to put your 2 feet on the ground.
I hope the guy is right that aliens helped build up the civilization. It would be so cool. Make Earth so much cooler than it is.
I just think those people back then, they had some type of knowledge that we don't. Because remember, they had to rely on weather, the position of the moon, the sun. They were just like so knowledgeable. Yeah. We depend a lot on computers, science, calculators.
Yeah.
They had to do everything very different.
Yeah.
Still today, I don't know how the heck they move the rocks and stuff like that. I'm just like...
So the leading theory, again, so I'm branching off maybe a bit far. The leading theory was that they used vibrations as their source of technology. Like we use electricity, right, and computing power. They used vibrations, or they had like a Tesla coil on top of the pyramids that could generate power. It was so weird. It was over the top. It was so cool.
Really? That's freaking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing. Yeah, man. Trust me, I just love it. I was a streamer when I was let me see, thinking like a year, for 2 years or so, stream. But I just found that it wasn't for me.
Okay.
And
Well, why wasn't it for you?
It's, being married is one of them.
Yeah.
Wife and kids and work. And I work in the medical field. I work in EKG.
Okay.
My concentration is heart rhythms and learn it and figure out what's going on with the patient and then reporting it to the cardiologist. Mm-hmm. So content creation, you have to dedicate 100%.
Yeah.
And being online, streaming 100% every single day. Then the hours I come and stream was very early in the morning. Everybody's sleeping. These teenagers, everybody's just sleeping, So a lot of them is like, do you stream at 3:00 in the afternoon or 4? I go, no, I got to go to work at 7, So it was really tough. So somebody said, hey, you should try podcasting. You'll be good at it. And I'm like, you know what? Not a bad idea. Let me look into it. Yeah. So I looked into it and I was just like, I love it. This is me. Freaking amazing. It's fun.
You're doing a good job. I feel so relaxed.
Yeah, it's cool. It's nothing to it. Other people see podcasting as a competition. This is what's really funny. Mm-hmm. And I know some out there that do podcasting and they see it as a competition. For me, I'm like, listen, you could try to compete all you want, but podcasting is not a competition. Joe Rogan brings the majority of his guests are podcasters.
Yeah.
You think about it, the majority of all podcasts, they don't compete. It's not about competition. Yeah. It's about who do you like and what do you like to listen to. You have all day to listen to podcasts.
And to slam the bridge back to esports, right? That feels a bit sometimes as esports as well, right? Like there's enough for everybody if you look at all the orgs that are around, and it's just everybody acts like it's their turf, and that there's like almost like gang wars between these organizations of what's going on. It's like, no. And if you look at, let's say, the Premier League in England, the football teams, on a Saturday when Arsenal and Chelsea are playing against each other, yeah, they're at each other's throats. But then on the Monday, the management have tea together in the morning and talk about the future of the Premier League and how they can help each other build bigger clubs. And I hope that esports over time becomes more like that as well. Because if we build, and with we, I am alluding to all the other esports organizations, if we build up the ecosystem in a way that it's supportive for all of us, then I think there's enough to go around.
Oh, yeah. I believe so, too. I mean, if they all come together and they'll see, how to help each other out, it will grow. Mm-hmm. It will grow. I don't know. It's every day you see everybody trying to thrive and be number one and all this. But when you come to know, at the end of the day, it's all chemistry. It's all work together, and you will succeed. If you desire the best for somebody else, good is going to come back to you.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that Apple and Samsung are at each other's throat and they hate each other and they're just in a big competition. Oh, we're better. Just so you know, Apple has a lot of Samsung parts inside their device, their cell phone. And, same thing with Microsoft and Apple. They all help each other out. Behind the scenes, they're all helping each other out. Because competition is good.
Yeah.
If there's no competition and there's only one way and then you're stuck with that. But competition is good. But behind the scenes, these guys help each other out. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal how it all works out together. Motorola and all these, companies, they all help each other out. And same, goes with esports. There's a lot of these orgs, like the NA, which I know majority of all of them, all these owners, they all talk together.
Good. Glad to hear that.
They all come together. They all know each other. And when I asked one guy, this owner, he goes, oh, he's phenomenal. Go tell him I recommended you, all this and that, so you could talk to him and everything. And I was like, oh, so you all guys, oh yeah, we're all friends.
So good.
So, it's something really, really good. And I like that because what people on the internet they only think like, okay, they hate each other, and it's not that. No, they don't. But they all like each other. They're all friends behind the scene because they want esports to grow.
Yeah,
It's the future now.
I think it will be an incredible impact on the future. And the beautiful thing as well is, right, when you play with your buddies online and you play against people, you develop feelings for people that you don't really know. The trials, again, 120 people in. And when I asked people individually what they thought and what they liked, people didn't mention that they had bad experiences with people. Yeah, there were a few guys that were like, I don't like that guy that much, but I had people in from France, from Spain, from Germany, from England, from the Nordics, from the Baltics, wherever. And some of them came back and said, oh, yeah, it was great, like mixing all these communities together, bringing all these people together. And it's really just learned me that, they're not that bad people out there.
Yeah, no, it's true. That is so true. There's a lot of good people out there. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna send you my friend's information.
Yeah, send me Mario's, please.
I'm gonna send you Mario. He is what I really like about him is his humbleness. Okay. That is one thing that he never puts himself high. I was like, dude, but if you're good, don't you recognize it? He goes, yeah, but I'm down here. I said, you play a lot like Palu. I noticed your style and Paulo's like alike. You're very precise, and he goes into this tiny little peaks, and he just said, dude, you're just insane. No, I'm okay. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm still learning. Oh, okay. I know. I get it. He never boosts himself, never. And you'll talk to him. He'll talk to everybody. He doesn't care, very humble about it. But I'll send you his stuff.
Please do.
Now, you guys ever thought about getting into Halo?
Not as of yet, no.
Okay. Halo's in a little bit of a big slump. It did good. Because I know a lot of guys in Halo. I'm really good friends with Renegade. He's a champion right now. They just won a major with Team FaZe.
Yeah, Halo got a resurgence, right? A few years ago when the new version got released, and they built the whole esport around it. But I don't really follow the Halo scene that much, apart from that.
Really? I know Fnatic now. Fnatic was with the Halo. I don't know if they're back again or what. Okay. Optic Gaming. Oxygen was, but they left. Okay. It's these orgs that come and go. Because Halo is just like, it's issues with the game. Mm-hmm. And the pro players are having issues with it. And they just don't like certain things. And then it goes on a rise and it just flops down.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just don't know what the heck.
With the Esports World Cup coming around, right? Halo is not that attractive to the big orgs because I don't think they're part of the Esports World Cup.
I don't think so. I don't know. I got to double check. That's a good question. I haven't done my research on that.
The Esports World Cup is changing esports, and all the titles that are in the Esports World Cup, players getting picked up out of nowhere. So StarCraft, a game that you probably have heard of.
Yeah.
One of the oldest esports, or even the oldest esports, depending who you ask, that there is. Only organizations that were passionate, let's say, or had management that came from StarCraft usually operated within the StarCraft scene. Now Vitality, who had no connection to StarCraft whatsoever, picked up a roster of Korean players to be able to compete at the EWC.
Really?
Yeah. So you can track so many roster moves in the last month back to just, it's all EWC related.
That's crazy. Let me tell you, I'm excited for this World Cup. Yeah. I'm in shock. First of all, the trophy. I mentioned it here tons of time. That trophy, it looks sick. Looks really, really nice. It looks like an actual soccer, football, what you guys call it out over there. World Cup trophy in a way.
Yeah.
They made it really nice. What I like also is like I just saw online that they give each team a key or something. This little triangle key, and it unlocks to every time you progress. I mean, they made it phenomenal, and I think the prize pool is going to be really, really big.
Yeah, they're changing the game. I think, and again, I'm not sure about this. They hosted it last year as well, but they called it Gamers 8.
Correct.
There were less restrictions on the prize pool back then than there are now. So most of the games have a lower prize pool than last year, because now they're communicating with the publishers more and setting out these limits upon it. So I think, and again, I'm not sure about this, if you would compare the prize pools of all the EWC games to the World Championship of the game that is actually hosted by the publisher themselves or the company that the publishers hired to host it, it's about the same, because that was the upper limit.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I am excited. I'm very excited. I'm curious to see how it continues to evolve.
Yeah.
They've put a partner program in place where I think it was 30 teams who get into the partner program, or 20. So many numbers that get sponsored by them, by the EWC organizers, and they are incentivized to pick up rosters in the games that are being hosted. But that also comes with certain demands, like they have to open up an office in I think Saudi Arabia, maybe even in the city where it's hosted. So the whole world is going to shift very much towards the Middle East when it comes to esports.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah,
That is insane. It's insane. What I like about it as well, that they state that the people, wherever you finish, if you ended up on 8th place, you will end up with a prize of thing like a little trophy or something, that states where you finished. You landed in 8th place. I
nice.
find that really, really neat. I kind of like that, because these players, they play night and day. They put a lot of work into this. A lot of people don't know, but I know players that play 8, 9 hours, 10 hours daily to try to get better. For them to go to a tournament, go to LANs, and they go ahead and play and end up reaching 3rd place or 2nd place, but leaving without nothing in their hands, that kind of hurts me. I kind of like for these players to get some type of medal. If it's 2nd place, you got 2nd place, get a silver medal, get something. 3rd place, something. I just like, it kind of bums me out that there's only one trophy and that's it. They just give it to the winner, number 1, and that's it. But 2nd and 3rd place, they should get something. In the Olympics, they do it, and whoever makes it in the Olympics wins first, they get gold. Whoever makes 2nd gets it. It motivates them. That's how I see it. It motivates. Man, I made 2nd, but I'm happy. We got something.
I think in the moment you're not, right? Because you got 2nd, you're so close to 1st. But I think down the line you start appreciating it more and more.
Yeah.
But if I would get 2nd in an esports grand final tournament, I would be really sad when they hand me the medal.
Somebody told me that. One of my friends that I had here on the podcast, Packer, former wild card, and he told me, yeah, but I'm gonna be bummed out. I'm not gonna be happy. I said, but let me tell you something. Think about it this way, because I see everything. I like to see everything on the positive side. I never like to see anything on the negative. And I tell him, okay, but don't you think the team that's on 3rd wish they were 2nd? I said, remember, you're still getting paid. And whoever comes 2nd will make more money than the team that made 3rd place. I said, think about it. 1st place, obviously you get the grand prize, but 2nd place get money too. Yeah. But whoever was in 2nd got more than whoever came in 3rd. 100%. So 3rd place, trust me, those guys won 2nd place more than.
Yeah, but it takes some time for them to realize that. If I'm standing on the podium and I'm getting my medal, I am not happy.
Yeah. I got 2nd.
Yeah, everybody always wants more. Every single person I talk in esports to, it doesn't matter how good they did, they always are like, no, but I could have done better, because they always feel like they were this close to making just another step up.
I mean, that's part of competition. That's how life is. All these teams, thrive to win the big one, to win it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking this World Cup, this is like so huge.
Yeah.
How do you place it against SI? And
I usually say so. We qualified for Gamers Aid in 2022, so we got a taste of how it was through Rainbow Six Siege, and the players that were with us, some of them were gone to previous majors and SIs, and they told me straight up, this is better than every single major SI that I've ever been to. The way they take care of us, the way that the hotel is. There may not be that many people watching us live, but the stage is amazing. So they thought themselves that it was the best major that they've ever attended. So they will change the game. EWC will absolutely change the game. And the question is then eventually, for how long? How will it last? Because eventually everything's a business. Everything has to make money. And right now, yes, they're pumping in so much money into UWC to make it successful. And then how long is their moment of, okay, that's when the profit needs to come around. That's when things need to change. If esports keeps growing and getting bigger, as we all believe it is, then eventually the payoff will come. But that might take 10, 20 years before we're at that stage. My dad is close to retirement age. He doesn't understand esports. He doesn't know esports, and he won't watch it. But when I'm close to retirement age, yes, I will watch esports and I will be involved.
Correct.
So it will take a few generations for everything is at the top as where it could be.
Yeah, is Fortnite's going to be in it? I assume.
Yeah, Fortnite's there.
Yeah, Fortnite has to be there. That's like really a big.
They've got, I think, 20 titles there. Yeah, I've done some research on it. They've got titles that we don't even know of that are there, that are incredibly popular in Asian countries. And they've got titles that we are very much aware of.
So they might even have like some Nintendo titles, like what they.
No, they don't have any Nintendo titles. It's still very esportsy. It's not like there are no gimmicky games, let's say.
Because Plateau, I thought Plateau was a game that was really popular and on the Nintendo side, because I see that I think played a lot in Japan.
Okay.
They have tournaments.
Okay, but there's no Nintendo game. As far as I'm aware, you could say, well, Rocket League, you can play it on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, sure, but all the pros play it on the computer.
Yeah, they play it on PC.
Yeah. But there's some games that are, I think there's some mobile games there. Mobile Legends, for example. PUBG Mobile is there.
You get PUBG Mobile?
Yeah, PUBG Mobile is there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that.
No, it's incredibly big in Asia. It's very different. Personal story. I dated a girl once that said she was a gamer, and I didn't question it much. And then 3-4 weeks in, I learned it was PUBG Mobile, and I'm like, okay, that's not the gamer I thought it would be.
I'm a gamer, PUBG Mobile.
Yeah. To me, that was like, no. For me, that's not gaming.
Yeah. You're trying to tell me that new Corvette is a Ferrari? Nah, that's not a Ferrari. It may look like a Ferrari, but it's not a Ferrari.
But in Asia, the market is so different that mobile gaming is seen as an actual esports. And maybe the game that we know that is also become an esports is called Clash Royale.
Yeah, I heard of that game.
Yeah. You know Clash of Clans probably? Because it's immensely popular. So Clash Royale is an adaptation of it, where it's a different game but the same lore and characters. And it's became an esports. I think it's incredibly popular in Spain as well. And I like, wow, I've played this when I was younger. I never thought it would be an esports, but I can see that it could become it. And if the community that plays on mobile is big enough, there's enough backing, then especially in the Asian countries, those get huge.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that mobile was going to be there.
Yeah, and if you look at all the mobile games, the main regions are countries like Indonesia, even Myanmar is noticed, even though it's a very small country on our scale when it comes to infrastructure. But everybody has a mobile in those countries. And what do you do for fun with your friends? Well, we play video games on computers because we have that, but they don't. So they all just go on their mobile phone.
Jeez. That's crazy.
There's a North American team, though, that did qualify. That's under the banner of Cloud9.
Oh, Cloud9.
Yes.
We know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cloud9. My friend that I tell you from Halo, he was Renegade. He was part of Cloud9.
Mm-hmm.
They used to win every friggin' time. It was a point that I was like, okay, dude, you need a team to compete against you guys because you're just like winning a lot. And there was a point that fans were like getting tired of it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, now we don't like you no more. We hate you now because you're winning so darn much.
Yeah.
Then he left the org and we was like, what the heck was that all about? I went to FaZe. I'm like, oh, okay.
We know what that's about.
Now I know. It's all about the money, huh? It's all business. I'm like, okay.
Eventually it is.
And he won another 2 titles. I'm like, dude, he's the top player on that team. Really, really good. FaZe, he's doing really good. I'm happy for him. That's crazy, man. I'm really excited for this world. So, Rene, how is it that you got into esports all along? I mean, how were you a gamer in the beginning? You played console?
So, I've got my first handheld gaming device, I think, when I was like 6 or 7. It was Pokemon Crystal on the Game Boy. I think it was the Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know what English was back then, but I played it in English and had my cousin help me out when I didn't know what I needed to do. And that was the first game I played, and then over time it became more and more. I had a PlayStation 2, I had a Wii, and eventually I had a PC, and on the PC I learned a game called League of Legends when it was in beta, like 27, so for me it was then still a new game. I didn't like it, so I didn't play it, and then like a year or two I came back to it, and it was actually nice. And I remember when I was younger, I tried to play competition and build a team and everything, but I was not good at the game. So I at some point understood that. And then for me, it got serious when I used to play a game with my cousin called a Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle Cars, the same cousin that used to help me with Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And when that specific game got a sequel called Rocket League, which we're all very familiar with in this day and age, we picked up the game when it got released, and after a week, we said, let's take this seriously. Like, let's try and really get good at this. We didn't know that there was going to be an esports. We just liked the game and wanted to get good. So the first qualifier of the Rocket League World Championships were open qualifiers. I played with my cousin and a buddy from our town, a town of 1,600 people. And we finished, 32nd in Europe, which we were pretty proud of. And for me, after that, my individual performance went downhill.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, my best accolade as a player was I think I finished shared 3rd in the European Student Championships of Rocket League. Yeah, it's not bad, but if you want to be the best like Renegade, it's nothing compared to the players that play.
Yeah. Jeez. So, what's your favorite game of all these titles that you have?
You're expecting to pick between my children. Oh, that's a good.
There's gotta be a game that you relate more.
So I'll go by them a bit, right? Like Rocket League is the game that I got into esports with, but I've seen so much Rocket League, and I've played so much Rocket League, right? That at some point you're like, it's enough. Do I still absolutely love it? Yeah, but do I look at it with the same vigor as I did before? No, it's different. I went to London a week and a half ago to go to the major with a player friend of mine, and it felt just so different than when I went to the first one. That the second World Championship of Rocket League was in Amsterdam, and it was so different, the feeling there. Siege, I like a lot because it always feels like it's different and something new is happening and a new situation is created, and that's what I love about it. And then there's, of course, Trackmania, which is so fun to watch, right? Siege is a bit hard to watch. We can, I think, all agree on that. It's difficult to follow. Trackmania is Hot Wheels, but a bit more extreme and a bit more racy, and it's really cool to watch. And then FIFA is well, I like football, and I think FIFA is a more dynamic and action version of football itself, which makes it enjoyable. And then their final one is Valorant, and Valorant I enjoy as well, but I enjoy titles less. What I enjoy the most is watching the players play that I'm trying to help build a career for and help build up. And those games, doesn't matter. If it's the World Championship between FaZe and Cloud9 in Halo, if I don't know the players personally, it's not that fun. If it's a scrap on the streets, right, let's say, between two players that I've helped and worked up with, that for me is so much more important.
Oh yeah, that is so true. When you know the players and you see them streaming and you're like, I know that I watch this stream all the time and he's like doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's very intense. It feels good. It's like awesome. You know, you're impacted.
Yeah. And
now I'm gonna be really honest with you. Say again what you're gonna say?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I did not know hardly any of the players in Brazil SI.
Yeah.
But that was so freaking wild.
You were there?
No, I saw it. I mean, the energy was all over. Even when everybody was watching it on stream, we were just like, what the heck is this? The crowd was just insane. You got to go?
No. I wish. I've got a friend in South America called Royales, Rocket League player. Sadly enough, got released today by W7M. I had a quick call with him today to see how he's doing. But he was there, and he told me how incredible it was.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Brazil is different. It's just different. I wish that more esports organizations, publishers and tournament organizers, with probably all the trouble that comes with organizing in Brazil, right, would go for it.
Yeah, so true. I think esports learned something. Rainbow Six learned something that day when they had that event over there in Brazil.
Yeah,
because the crowd was so into it. I think it was sold out. It was a sold out stadium, and it was packed. You see old people celebrating.
Yeah.
You see everybody, young kids. I saw this guy. He was like 80 years old without a shirt, just swinging it, just like, yeah. I'm like, who the heck? That's probably somebody's grandpa.
Yeah, that's someone's grandpa from the players on stage. 100%.
They were just like going crazy. Yeah. Like if it was a soccer, football game, they just won. Brazil versus, who else?
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah. And I saw the energy, and I mean, I was excited. I was happy, very happy. And then, there was another major, what was it? Manchester, right? And that one was pretty good. Now the crowd wasn't as big as Brazil, but it was a good crowd. I think esports, when it comes to setting up these tournaments, they got to set them up in locations that they know the stadiums are going to get filled. Because I seen a tournament, I forgot which one it was, and it was a Rainbow Six. This was, I think, last year. I don't know where it was, but there was hardly nobody. I think if it was like 20 people, 30 people, it was a lot. And you just didn't feel it. Honestly, I just didn't feel it. If you don't feel the crowd, you just don't feel it.
No.
It was like, it was to a point that was kind of like boring. And people like never do it a tournament there ever again because it's just like it was dead.
Was this like a major or was this a
It was.
smaller?
I think it was a major.
A
yeah, I think it was,
major?
yeah. It was just like really dead. It wasn't that big.
Okay.
It wasn't that. I forgot which one it was. It was. It just didn't get that hype. The people, the crowd wasn't that. They were just sitting down watching.
Yeah.
They weren't cheering. They weren't just like all hyped up like it was in Brazil. Now I think the next SI is gonna be in the United States. They said East Coast, so I'm hoping it be in Orlando. I'm 2 hours away from Orlando, so have all the players go to Universal Studios or Disney, have some fun, and then go to the tournament. I mean, that'll be crazy.
Yeah.
But we just don't know. They haven't revealed it. Somebody said, "Oh, supposedly it's going to be in New York or something," but I just don't know if that's true or not.
We'll see. We'll see wherever it's going to be. I've gotten more and more faith in Blast over time, right? I think they are doing a good job of expanding and growing as limited as I'm aware of their full plan. Again, my boss Steve takes those conversations more than me. But one of the things that they've done is involving all these streamers and having them co-stream. I think are just those, even though they seem small, I think they're incredibly big and important for the community. The fun show match they did before the grand final in Manchester, where they invited people from the stage, big content creators and players. I think that's a very fun thing, and as long as they can keep expanding on that and making that bigger, then they'll reach a bigger audience over time, and that's eventually what's important, because maybe only 20% of the player base of Siege is an esports fan. Well, let's then increase the player base.
Yeah. That's true. Increase the player base. It's like with Jinxie. Jinxie came along and just did a freaking boom for Rainbow and all content creation. Now he plays with Kaiset and plays with Speed and all these big people that, they're very well known. So it's like that was something very beneficial that helped out Rainbow a lot.
Yeah.
Now he's also playing football, the NFL Madden, and play some other games as well. A lot of these content creators now they start mixing it up a little bit.
They have to, right? Like, for example, XQC came from Overwatch. Jinxie came from Rainbow Six Siege. And there are other incredibly big streamers that come from a certain game. And eventually, you want your character, your brand, your image, or your streamer persona to be bigger than the game you play. So at some point, you're going to make a decision to not focus that much on the game anymore. And then your viewer base will get cut by a bit. But the people that stay there for you will stay.
That's correct. You know who's going through that? Well, already he's a veteran. He's a legend. It's Summit 1G.
Okay.
So Summit, I got to know Summit through one of my friends through Halo. And then Summit ended up following me on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, dude, thank you. So I'll DM him, once in a while when I get a chance and we'll chit chat. Because sometimes I get frustrated with things in esports and content creation and some things I just don't like. And he's like, dude, that's the politics of this, man.
Yeah.
He says, that's the politics of esports. That's how it is, man. There's nothing you could do. I'm like, dang. So it was one of my frustrations I was going through while, trying to stream and stuff like that. And certain players that their egos are so darn high. Yeah. That they just don't even they don't even want to help you out. So something that he kind of like guide me into and help me out. Okay. But I noticed that he would play a lot of different games now. Yeah. He's not only into the Counter-Strike like he, came from.
And everybody knows the famous clip.
Oh yeah. Which one? The one about the grenade or
I think it's the grenade or the Molotov. It's either or, right? It was or both. But I think the grenade.
He killed himself or something. That's crazy. I mean, you know what? it worked out for him.
Yeah.
It worked out for him on the long run. Everybody knows him for that, and
Yeah.
and look how popular he is. He has like 6 million followers on Twitch. I mean, geez, the guy is a genius. It worked out at the end of the day. I mean, but yeah, he's playing games that even I suggested to them a long time ago. Star Citizen.
What is Star Citizen? Wasn't that huge game that got released and wasn't that as good as everybody thought it would be?
No. Star Citizen is a game that is still on alpha stage.
Okay.
And it's been like that for years and years. It's a space simulation game.
Okay.
So they have made tons of money, millions and millions, and still hasn't gotten out of alpha. Say supposedly, like I think this year is going to go into beta. But, it's been like that for over, I think, 13, 14 years.
Wow.
It's still been on alpha stage.
The game I meant was Starfield, I think.
Oh, you mean Starfield? No, Starfield, yeah, that's a Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's Microsoft. Yeah, Starfield wishes they could be Star Citizen.
Yeah.
They kind of like got into that same territory as, Star Citizen. But Star Citizen will always remain king of space simulation. There's nothing going to beat it.
Okay.
There's other games like No Man's Sky or Elite. But they try to compete, and there's nothing. That game is so detailed and so in depth that it's crazy. It's you could become a bounty hunter. You could be scavenger. I mean, the sky's the limit in that game.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. Then I saw Summit playing. I'm like, dang, Summit, you're playing Star Citizen, dude. So it was pretty neat.
I wish I still had time to play video games, man. Like when I hear these things, I'm like, I want to try it, and I'm like, yeah, but where in my schedule do I fit this?
Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Oh, well, God bless you.
No, well, my girlfriend was a bit mad that I came home every evening at 11 the last couple of days, right? But, esports it's such an emergent market. There's so much that needs to be done and needs to get done. And I love doing it. And I think if I do things right, then I could have an incredibly bright future in this emergent market where like my passion has always been to help young people, especially young men, reach their potential. Now, esports isn't just men, right? There are tons of women. There were even women's in the trials of last weekend. But when I was younger, I had to do a work placement for 40 hours when you're like 13 or 14, right? And I did it at the local football club. And I gave training to the 6 to 8 years old for 40 hours. And after that was done, the local football club was like, do you want to stay on and continue to do this? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I did it for 5 more years. I got a certificate to be a trainer of them, which doesn't mean that much, but it was nice, and they paid for it for me to do it. And eventually, when I was 18, I coached the 12 to 16 years old. And I didn't do it because I wanted to do it, because I didn't know what it was, right? But the club came to me and were like, we're looking for a coach for the 12 to 16 year old, and we think you can do it. And I was like, I'm 18. The oldest player on that team is like 15, almost 16. How am I going to... I'm just 2 years older. What am I supposed to do? They were like, no, we think you can do it. So I sat down with the coach that was going to stop doing it, and he convinced me. And then I asked my parents, do you think I could do it? And they said, yeah, we think you could do it. So I did it, and I coached that team for a year. I would have loved to do it longer, but I had to move because of studies after. But I would say that out of all the experience that I've had in life, if I discount some of the esports experience now, that was probably the best choice that I've ever made, is leading that young football team. We didn't play at a high level. We played at one of the lowest levels you could, but just the emotion, the growth, the sometimes the fighting, right? All just having the desire to win, and then eventually at the end of the year becoming champions, unforgettable.
Yeah, because it's like family.
Yeah.
You always fight with your brothers and sisters, no matter what you do. You're gonna end up fighting with them. I mean, heck, I fight with my wife every single day, man. We fight all the time. But, at the end of the day, we love each other,
Yeah.
We're all a team. So what were you studying? Where were you going for studies?
Business economics.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You look like a businessman. I'm going to tell you right now. You should just save your money and become part owner of Wild. Who knows?
My long-term plan, when Steve gets old enough and actually wants to quit, I'll take over. That's my plan.
There you go.
And he knows it. He knows it.
You got it, man. You have it. You have it in you. I could tell.
Thank you.
You can tell from a distance when you talk to someone, like this guy is going to be a business guy, entrepreneur. He's gonna make it big.
Thank you. I still have to learn sometimes to be a bit harder. That's the difficult part, right? Like you always want to make people happy and let them do what they want to do or get them in a position where they feel good about. But sometimes what is necessary for certain players even isn't the thing that they want. Sometimes they need to go through certain things that they don't really like, but at the end, it's going to be better for them. And that's something that I'm getting better and better at instilling that in you. Because they're still so young, right? You're always a bit like, I need to be a bit careful, but I'm learning more and more of that. No, you need to push them in the right direction because that's eventually what they need to succeed.
You know what we call that here in the United States? Tough love.
Yeah.
They might say that over there, but that's why we call it here. You got to show them some tough love.
Yeah. And
not everybody likes tough love.
I think you really learn that when you get children. Do you have children?
Yeah. I do.
Was it where you learned that the most or?
Oh, yeah. Because you love your son so much, but you got to discipline him. When you discipline, it hurts.
Yeah.
I don't believe in spanking and stuff like that, but but I sometimes you just got to be very firm and say no. But then when you see the tears coming down his eyes and it's like, oh God, you don't want to say, no, don't cry, because that's not going to help him.
Yeah.
But you got to show some tough love and say, you know what you did was wrong. And it hurt me and it hurt daddy, and then, that right there hurts them to know that what they did hurt you. And it shows as well how much they love you. But sometimes you got to show some tough love. I usually let my wife deal with that part. I want to seem like the good guy. I don't want to be the bad guy, because I'm like, I say, listen, if your mom finds out, it's not going to be good.
I mean, you have to build that bond a bit as well. Like you need to be tough, but you also need to do those things. Don't tell mom, right? And then you tell mom yourself so that when mom finds out, you don't get the story.
Yeah. It's crazy because I mean, that's what I got to do. She's also a very firm believer in tough love, but without, hitting or disciplining your kids in that form, Yeah. And I tell the kids, I say, why do you guys have fear? Has she ever spanked you once in the lifetime? They go, no. And I'm like, well, there you have it.
I remember a specific moment in training at football training where I had to do it. And I talked with my mom about it after as well. I had 2 kids and they were fighting at the start of training. We weren't even started yet. I was putting out some exercise and they were fighting. And I called their names and I said, stop. And then I looked away, put out cones again, and I looked at them, and they were fighting again. So I walked up to them, I pulled them off each other, and I said, if you guys fight one more time, you're out for today. You're done. So I walk away, and before I'm halfway where I want to be, I look around, and I see one of the 2 kick the other. So I yell out his name very loudly, and I say, you're out, you're done. You can go home. And he said, oh, but he did this. I said, I didn't see that. I saw that you kicked him, so you're out. And I was very, very clear. And you're not out because you kicked him. You're out because you didn't listen. And that's more important. So I sent him home, and then the parents came up because they were about to leave, and they were like, does he really have to go? I said, I'm sorry, but I don't want him to do this again. I think it's a valuable lesson. Because I remember when my trainer used to do that. And he went home. And ever since, I don't think he's ever done it again. So I hoped it worked. But it's very hard to do that in that moment because inside there's a voice like oh, but come on, he's just a kid. This is also the moment where you need to be firm.
Well, yeah, because if they don't learn at that age, they get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
You got to teach them at a very early age to respect your elders, to respect your superior. If your superior tells you, hey, don't do this. Because if you don't, you know what happens? Once they get to the age of 18, they're going to say, well, I'm an adult. I could do whatever I want. And that's one of the issues that I had with my oldest stepson. My stepson, love him to pieces, but he was very hurt of his separation between his mom and his dad because he's more attached to his dad than he is to his mom. So I came along and we got along very, very good.
Yeah.
But he thought that I would always be siding with him for everything. So there was a time that I said, listen, I can't side with you with this because this is not good. I'm going to give you an example. He was, 15 years old or 14 years old and wanted to play Grand Theft Auto. I told him, I said, listen, you're too young for this game because there's a lot of scenes in this game that is not appropriate for children. Oh, but my friends in school play. I say, yes, but there's a lot to it that you just don't know. So what happened was that, he thought I was against him. He didn't like it. And then he waited. But then he started playing the game behind our backs. His mom said, oh, no, just let him play it. It's okay. I said, well, fine. I mean, this is what you want. So he goes in and talks to his dad. His dad's like, yeah, sure, whatever. He doesn't know. So he started playing at a at an early age. What happens? When he got his car, his first vehicle, I think it was around 19 years old, he got his vehicle. He got 3 speeding tickets. So I told him what happened. Oh man, these cops and all that. I said, you know what? If you don't want a ticket, don't break the law. Yeah. I said, this is the problem. Then his mom started complaining. And then on the 3rd ticket, and there was one, he had to go to court.
Wow.
So I pulled his mom aside. I said, you remember that time when he wanted a video game and you allowed it? This is the consequence. Yeah. Because there's things that they think they're going to get away with, but you shouldn't teach them they could get away with everything. And now, in the future, look what happens. He thinks he's above the law, that he's going to get away with it. Guess what? He didn't get away with it 3 times, and the cops keep on pulling him over and they give him big tickets. So around the 3rd, the one that took him to court because he was speeding so fast with his friend on the side, thinking it was a joke, they tell him that what he did was to go to jail. It's called something street racing or whatever. There's a law about it. So the cop was like, I don't know what happened, felt a little bit of mercy of God or something, and let him off the hook. He said, I'm going to give you a ticket, but you got to go to court. The court is going to decide either you're going to go to jail or not. Oh boy. He had to get the professors from his university, his college, to write about him, family members, we were all kind of really concerned.
Did it scare him straight?
Oh, it scared him.
Good.
And you know what he did now? Because now when I told him to do something, now he listens. Wow. What a miracle. Yeah. So now I told him, listen, you want to avoid a ticket? When you see the speed limit says 55, put it on cruise control 55. Guess what? You will never get a ticket. And from now on, he does that.
When I was younger, I went to a LAN, and in the south of the Netherlands, there's more speed cameras than the north. I'm from the north. I put the cruise control 5 kilometers too high. I got flashed 3 times, with 3 separate tickets by 1 kilometer too fast.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the administration costs were higher than the ticket cost. It was so bad.
Oh my God, just for 5?
Yeah. It's just it was more of the busy intersections, and so they have it more. And I got 3 in a row, and luckily, my parents were a bit like 3 tickets, and then they looked at the speed and they saw it was 1 kilometer too high. They're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's kind of like 1 kilometer. What is that in miles per hour? I'm still.
I think 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers ish.
Okay, jeez, that's very low.
Yeah. So they have an autocorrect, right? So let's say if you're driving 50 and you put your on, like, let's say 55, usually there's a correction. So they take a bit off because they're not 100% accurate, and then you get away with it. But if you put it on 56 or 57, then they register it as you're going like 51 or 52. And that means that you're 1 or 2 too high, so you get the ticket. And if you then have 3 in a row in that busy area, which I had, then, you get 1.
Well, I'm going to say something to all those listeners that live here in the United States that complain. The cops here are very lenient when it comes to that, because over here they give you a 5 mile per hour grace.
Yeah, we have that as well, Ish, right? So if you go, like I said, in the 50 area, you go 56 or 57. That's what I did. I went 6 or 7 too fast. So the 5 grace was gone because I was still too fast.
Grace. Over here, you go 5. If speed limit is 50 and you're going 55, then you're fine.
Yeah,
they won't pull you over. But if you're getting really close to that 60, they're gonna pull you over and they're gonna give you a ticket.
Yeah, we have automated systems here, and the most fun ones are in Germany. In Germany, you get a picture of yourself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was my first ticket was in Germany. There was the Germans were very sly. You went from, this is again kilometers, from 90 to 70 to 50 to 30, and I was like, I'm just gonna let the car roll out. But if I rolled it out, I wouldn't have accelerated as fast as I should. So when I was at the 50 board, I got flashed because I didn't brake. I was like, okay. And it got sent home to me, and I've got it still with me because it's a picture of yourself, so it's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's real funny. So, yeah, tough love is really important. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I do with my kids. And I told them, I said, listen, you got to learn. And from then on, he always puts his cruise control. I said, you listen. But it took him 3 tickets and 1 court case.
Yeah. Sometimes what it takes.
So I told my wife, I said, sometimes you just let the kids do whatever they want. And then if you don't teach them now, trust me, in the future, they're going to become really wild. They're going to do whatever they want. And what happened is the way you raise your kids is going to show how they are going to become in the future. This is why in esports, a lot of these kids that are into esports, they think the same goes with them in esports. Well, I'm really, really good, so I don't care. I don't have to follow these rules. I could do whatever I want because I'm the best, Well, you know what? Sorry to break it to you. A lot of these organizations not going to pick you up.
Well,
you could be really good.
If you are really the best, then you will get picked up.
Yeah, but I think they're going to be really tough on that person. Because at the end of the day, your image, the organization could get in trouble. That's where I came in with Wildcard as a Twitch moderator for these pro players. Because I'll tell them, listen, if I say check your DMs. You went against Twitch rules. And Twitch doesn't care who you are.
Yep.
If they banned Dr. Disrespect, now we know what happened. If they banned, other big streamers, they don't care if you have millions, they will ban you. And if you ban for something that you said, like what you shouldn't have said, and you're part of an organization, that org is going to be tied into it. And unfortunately, the org doesn't want to do anything with you. They're going to have to, well, as of today, we parted ways with you. Because you said something that you shouldn't. I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to mention his name. But there's somebody that said some type of dumb joke. And I mentioned this in the past. And he said a dumb joke, but it was a black and white joke. Guess what? He lost his charm.
Wow.
He shouldn't have said the joke. But his moderators should have like say, hey, boom, come here. Delete the stream. Stop the stream. Delete it. Delete it. Somebody's going to record it. And eventually they recorded it. They sent it in. They took his charm out. Removed it. And he was like, I just said it was a dumb joke. Well, you mix it with race, you got it. I would have told him, don't put race into it. Do with animals. Do a kangaroo and a zebra. Do a kangaroo or a giraffe. Make the joke that way. Don't put race into it because you're gonna get in trouble. And guess what? Boom. It's tough.
And the tough part is as well, right? Everybody makes mistakes in life, but when you're a professional sports star in traditional sports, you've got this incredible support system around you at a probably younger age, like a football training, where you learn that you can't kick your buddy because you'll get sent away. But in esports, you're growing up in the ranked lobbies. That's the feeding ground. And you kick your teammate and nobody says anything and everybody gets a laugh out of it and thinks you're funny and you do it again and again and you get rewarded for this behavior that eventually won't help you.
No, it doesn't.
And then at a young age they get like exposed to so many people to watch them that don't even have a clue who those individuals are or what their intentions is or what they're doing. And it just creates an environment where a lot of mistakes will be made.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes I watch, for an example, Jinxie. I mean, I can only tolerate his content for so long.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
It's his energy.
I only watch him when he is at the end of the stream when he's really tired. That's the only time I can watch him.
I think that's the best time. Or if he's playing with somebody like really important, somebody that's very popular or something, I'll take a peek. But I could just only see 5 minutes or 10 minutes of it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't make a mistake because he does some crazy stuff. And till now, knock on wood, he hasn't done anything to the point that he will get banned off Twitch. Because I notice he'll do certain things on Twitch. And he will do certain things that he won't do on Twitch, but he'll put it on YouTube. So it's like, okay, I know you wouldn't do this on Twitch because you will get banned. And that's where the big money's at, on Twitch, streaming, advertisement. Then he's making money on TikTok. Then he's making money on YouTube. So he plays it pretty smart. He knows what he's doing. He's not dumb. And I'm sure now he has, his attorneys. He has, some advisors who'll tell him, don't do this, do this. I assume, allegedly, I just don't know. I believe these major big content creators should have someone to always guide them and protect them.
Yeah.
That's one of the conversations I had with the attorney Jacobson on the previous episode. We were talking about the Dr. Disrespect situation. Because I said, you know what? Let me bring somebody that knows about this stuff, and we would just don't be talking about emotions and going by emotions. I'm sorry. We'll talk about the legal aspect of it. And this guy knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. So we talked about that. It's got to be really careful nowadays what to do, what not to do on streaming. Because if not, Twitch would just.
Yeah. Everybody will be pulled out of context, out of everything.
You'll be out. And if you're part of an organization, guess what? You're going to be kicked as well.
I would bet you that someone could pull something out of this conversation and send it out of context to my boss, where my boss would be like, did you really say this?
This is why I tell people, you know what? I used a lot of the word allegedly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying this is a fact, this is concrete. Even on my episodes, I have a disclaimer. Not everything that is said is facts. Yeah. This is opinion based. This
protects
is for
me as well, right?
Huh?
Protects me as well, right?
Yeah.
Good.
It protects us all because it's for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
It's an opinion based. Listeners' discretion is advised. So nothing is considered as facts. So, this is why a lot of people that come on, they'll just say allegedly. When you say allegedly, you just don't know. It appears to be. You can't say, oh, this is it. This is one of the case of Dr. Disrespect. I said the word allegedly because we just don't know. Even the attorney said it. And it's ways to protect yourself because you just don't know. Now, if you say this is this and I know this is a fact, then you could get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, okay, where you got that information from? How do you know about this? Etc. And if you don't know, then you could get sued. Somebody could say, well, you said that I did this, that you saw me drinking a margarita.
Yeah,
I wasn't drinking. And you said you saw me and you said that this was a fact. Now, if the person said, well, allegedly it appears to be, maybe these are rumors, I don't know, that he was drinking margarita, then they can't do nothing. Because you just spell out, something like you just don't know. But in cases with pro players, it's very tough because they got to get educated.
Yeah. They
got to learn the legal side. Now you're part of an organization. And no matter how good you are, you could be a bolo, you could be a shiko, you could be the best player. But if you do something stupid, do something dumb, the organization, in order for them not to look bad or and to lose fans, they will have to kick you. No, there's no excuses. They will have to say goodbye.
Yeah.
There was an owner, I forgot his name. It was an owner of an NBA team. Okay. It was an older guy. I think he was in his 70s. Fell in love with this young girl. I think she was 29, a cheerleader, something like that.
Yeah.
So they were dating, and he was all wild about her. But she recorded him on a conversation.
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you want me hanging out with these guys? Oh, because these guys are just brutal. You got to be careful. They just want to have sex with you. And they're all black or something like that.
Yeah.
And guess what? That went out the news all over. And he was labeled as a racist person, an owner of an NBA team.
Yeah.
And he had to forfeit the team. He had to sell his team.
Wow.
He can no longer be part of NBA now.
Yeah, it's public opinion is incredibly important, and especially in the online world where people don't really know what's happening, when people don't really know the individual in question.
Correct.
Conclusions will always be made, right? And as far as I go, right, there's sometimes players that I look into, and then people say, "Oh, you shouldn't talk to him." Oh, why? Well, he did this, and that. And then I talk to them, and it's totally different. I had two guys on the last weekend, that were actually banned cheaters in the past. And I had a conversation with them both beforehand of hey, I know your history. Let's have a conversation. And one of them said, I was 15. I was stupid. I could make some money. And I've learned my lesson. I shouldn't do this. And at 15, it looked like a good idea. And a lot of things look like a good idea when you're 15. So he didn't do it. And he played. And the other guy, as far as I was aware, he worked with Ubisoft even to make sure that he was cleared that he wasn't cheating anymore. And he played. Nobody complained. They didn't even move on because they weren't strong enough. But they played, and I think they enjoyed their time. And again, when you give someone a chance, when you give them freedom and the respect that they deserve when you don't know someone, people will surprise you.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I believe in second chances. I believe everybody deserves a second chance.
100%.
In esports, you got a lot of talented players, and a lot of them do commit some dumb stuff that they shouldn't have, especially in cheating.
I did some stupid stuff when I was younger. Everybody does.
Yeah, me too. I remember the hatred that Scheiko received at one time because supposedly he was cheating at one time. I mean, that case was so iffy because I saw a documentary on it, and it was a software they were using to detect if you were using macros or if you were cheating or something like that. It was very faulty to the point they plugged in a regular keyboard, brand new out of the box, and plug it in, and it still threw the red flag cheating. It's like, wait 1 second. I just bought this keyboard. I just bought this, and it's still lighting up like if I'm cheating. So they proved the case. Like, listen, look, it's marking like if you're cheating. So I mean, they gave him another chance. He was out for 2 years, came back, and one of the greatest players to ever play the game in the world.
Yeah.
So I believe people deserve a second chance. I think also depend the gravity. I mean, it can't be something like you did something really bad. There's certain things that you're given a second chance, but
we're giving a lot of people at WYLDE also just second chances, just coming in as a player, right? And trying to give them a place where they can come in clean and prove what they've done. And the history is their history, but their future they can create themselves. And I hope that always when those people get those opportunities, they prove us right. Because I'll make a mistake. And when I make a mistake, I don't want to instantly be cast aside and tossed away because of the mistake I made. But I would like that people try and understand why I made the mistake. And if we can grow and learn from it together, and in the future that it won't happen again. And I've been very fortunate in WYLDE. Gotta be honest, I've made mistakes in WYLDE. But every single time I did, I've had a great boss who had my back.
Isn't that so good to know that you got a boss that cares and I got your back, don't worry about it. You learn from this, we move on.
I've said many times to players, the reason why I'm at WYLDE is because of my bosses. I don't believe that there are many people in the world that can create something like they can with the care and the vision and the knowledge and the ability to create a company. Both of them have an incredible background in finance and investment and building companies. And with that, I believe that they actually understand how to build something properly. And if they didn't, then I wouldn't be here anymore.
That's touching because it's to the point that you start to see them like family, and you see the org like if it's your org, and you start to care about the org to the point that you just don't want to leave. There could be another organization say, hey, listen, I'm going to double what they're paying, and you won't go because you love the org.
No shot. Like, money's nice, but eventually you want more than just money. And we sometimes joked as well, me and my boss, that he said, I sometimes see you more than my wife, Rene. This is a problem.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
wait one second, I see you more than my wife.
Yeah. It's something special that we're trying to build, and it requires sacrifice. Just as a player, it requires a sacrifice to get to the top. As a company, it's 100% the same.
Wow. Do you see the coaches all the time? You have contact with the coaches?
Yeah, the coaches are probably my closest working partners. I instill an incredible amount of responsibility in them. As much as I would love to say, yes, I understand Rocket League, Siege, Trackmania, Valorant, and FIFA to the highest level and can tell anybody what to do in the game, I don't, because I can't. There's nobody in the world that does that. So I have to have such a level of trust with the individual coaches and a level of autonomy needs to be with them to be able to do what they need to do in their vision, because they are specialists in their own game. Yeah, I understand Rocket League incredibly well because I used to play it and coach it and cast it at a high level. But the meta has changed. I'm out of date. If I look at Siege, I can't coach a Tier 1 Siege team. Never in my life can I do that. Well, maybe if I dedicate 10 years to it, maybe I can get close. But it's still incredibly difficult. So I work incredibly close with the coaches because they are the linchpins in the teams.
Wow. Yeah. It's good to have that connection, because they probably, obviously they're seeing you more. The coaches see you,
Yeah.
and then you see the owners, the big guys, the big
You would be
chiefs.
surprised how much the owners still care about players and even old coaches. Like some of our first players from our very first Rainbow Six Siege roster still have contact with our owner from time to time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think a lot of these owners are, they just care about the checks. That's all they care about, money. They don't have no relationship with the players or whatsoever.
So there's sometimes there are multiple reasons to do something, right? Sometimes you do something for the money, but what we sometimes ask ourselves as well is like, what's the right thing to do? And let's not look at everything else. Like one of our players, bless him, had an accident, a car accident, and he's in the hospital. And then the question becomes, what's the right thing to do? That's the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters. That kid's life is turned upside down, 180 degrees, and then it hits you hard as well, right? Like, life is still there. Like, performance in esports and everything is nice and fun and love doing it, but eventually life is still there.
Was it made public what happened to him?
We're working with the parents on creating a statement what they feel
don't
comfortable about going out, right?
Yet.
But he's okay. Let's put it like that. He's okay.
Okay.
But
if he's alive, he's okay.
yeah, that's the most important part. And you said it sometimes very often. That's WYLDE, whatever. WYLDE stands for something. It's an acronym, I think is the right word in English.
Correct.
It stands for what you love doing. And then the E can stand for esports. It can stand for education. It can stand for anything that you want it to be, or everything that you want it to be. But WYLDE is built on more than just, it sounds cool to call yourself WYLDE. I'm part of WYLDE. No, it's more important than just a cool name.
Yeah. I mean, Laura was, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And when she told me that she's going to be no longer a content creator, I was like, what? Because, she wants to host and stuff like that. And and her being attached, she stated that, being attached to an org, it was hard for them to use her as a caster because they're going to think that she's always going to be rooting for one team. Mm-hmm. So she told me about that, and I was like, okay, sad to see you go.
Yeah, Laura was great to have. Laura was absolutely great to have.
So now you got Abby. Abby's really nice. She follows me on Twitter. I should bring her in one of these days.
Abby is absolutely lovely. She's a bundle of joy.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really nice. I think I said this before. I said I want to bring all of the guys on from the roster, from the team, to come on to the show. Mm-hmm. They have open doors. No, this organization is really nice.
If you only had all the time in the world to interview everybody.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's crazy. I got like months ahead. What's really crazy, like what we were talking about earlier with Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. Joe Rogan's schedule is like a year advance.
Wow, a year?
Yeah, he was talking about his stuff like his year, like 12 months. Like if people sign up, to come on the show, they're like already for like months ahead of time. Because remember, like let's say for an example, he'll bring in Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, his schedule is tight. Yeah. So Jordan's probably say, okay, I'm available in October.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people that he bring on are very important people, or people that have busy schedules, and a lot of them are comedians, actors, etc., or scientists like Neil Tyson, or I think his name is. Yeah. So they're super busy. So when they get a chance to go on the show, it's like months and months down the road. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm to the point that usually I get a month ahead or 2 months, and people ask, okay, when do you have available? Well, 2 months down the road. So the only availability I have. So, because I try to put out one episode every week. Put an episode a week. And I always get somebody, I always have someone. So it doesn't keep it boring, and also I give everybody a whole entire week, enough time that my listeners will have time to listen to the podcast. Oh, I can't Monday, but I could listen to it on Wednesday. And they don't feel pressured. Oh, this other guy came on. Oh, geez, I want to listen to that one. And they won't listen to the one that's out now, most recent. Yeah. So yeah, it's all dedication, man. I tell you, it's a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
So this is really cool, man. That WYLDE is. I never thought of this. That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
What? Wow.
We'll slowly let the world know more and more every single time.
Now, you guys, that logo, that's the one. That's it. And I see you got there with Puma. Puma is because of Usain Bolt, because the sign is with Puma.
Usain helps a lot with that, 100%. He's not at the forefront, let's say, everywhere, but he helps a lot in the back end, and we are. We'll use him when the time's right. When we're on the big stage, he'll be there with us.
Oh, that will be freaking insane. That would be insane. Now, did WYLDE make quals for World Cup?
No, we didn't.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I wish we did. But again, competition is tough. Anything can happen.
Man, that's a bummer. Oh, Lordy. That kind of sucks.
How it works. It's how it works. And I just wish I was different. And you have to learn to accept it, and then next year you try again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to come a time you guys are going to make it. You guys are going to make it on the big stage.
We've made Gamers 8 before in 2022.
Right?
So
you made it, but
we
this
know
time...
what it is and how it's possible. It's hard. And as much as I could be frustrated, angry, I just look ahead and think there's so much potential in what we're doing. I believe so much in that we're doing that we'll get there. Just let us keep growing and getting faster and get stronger. And at some point, everybody in the world will know what WYLDE is.
Now, you guys had Teb on your team, right? Or you still do?
Still do.
Teb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teb is he's an Italian stallion. I always call him. I mean, I mod for him as well.
Yeah. I've had the
Really
pleasure
nice
to meet
guy.
Teb a few times in the real life.
Really?
Yes.
Is he
He's-
that energetic?
He's exactly how you imagine him to be, one-on-one.
Oh, God. Very smart. Really good player.
Yeah.
Really good player.
Yeah.
Very intelligent. Really good player.
We were very happy to have him.
Yeah. Then you had Pac Bull, I think it was.
Yes.
But he's no longer, I think.
No, letting go of Packpool was probably one of the hardest decisions that we had to make, and not one that we took any pleasure in. It was very painful. He currently is playing in Mexico in the closed qualifiers. I think he's playing tonight at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm not gonna watch, sadly enough. But he's found a team to play the qualifiers for EWC with, and I think he has a decent chance of making it. They're playing 6 Karma again. This will be released later than when they play, so you can look up the results yourself. But he's an incredible guy, incredible professional, and I can't say a bad word about it. It's possible.
As a manager, how tough is it to let go someone?
I wish I didn't have to. I wish I could host 5 teams.
I think, isn't that like one of the most difficult things to do, to say, listen, it's about business. We got to let you go.
Yeah.
We got analysts that we look at certain things. You know who went through that?
We do one thing very frequently. Like some of the players, you let go for different reasons, right? And not every player falls in this bucket. Some of the players that we talk to, we always say, this is your end as a player at WYLDE. If you continue to want to play and go to other organizations to continue your playing career, we'll support you, we'll help you, whatever is needed, we'll try to make sure that you can. But if you think that maybe you're done as a player and you want to do something different and continue your career in esports in another way, let's have a conversation about what you think you could do and how you could help WYLDE as a company. And then let's see if we can make that work.
Correct. It's tough, man, because there's a lot of things involved. A lot of players could be burnt out. That's where the team psychologist will come in, because I'm sure WYLDE has all the tools, everything to help out a player to do what they got to do.
Yep.
Is to win, because that's why they're hired to.
Well, some players are there to win, right? And some players are there to grow. It's balance, right? We're building a Rainbow Six Academy team. I want them to win every single tournament in Tier 2 that there is. But I'm going to be honest, that's not the goal. The goal is to have a certain amount of individuals come through a certain amount of time to play in Tier 1, preferably under WYLDE.
Okay. I see. That's a good one. That's good. So, I mean, as a manager, releasing someone that's the hardest part, you say, of your position?
Yeah, but it depends on what kind of release it is, right? Like Packbull was incredibly tough. But sometimes you release players and you'll know they'll be fine. You'll know they'll go to other pastures, right? When we dropped out of French Valorant, we thought to ourselves, yeah, I think most of these players will be fine. And they are. They're all doing fine. And as long as that's the case, then I'm happy. Would I wish that every single amazing talent that goes somewhere to remain here? 100%.
Correct.
But we need to be able to keep building those pathways and keep helping this young talent grow and then giving them the tools that they need to continue their career if it's not feasible here, which is very, very rarely the case, especially with Rainbow Six Siege, with us having a team in Tier 1. The Academy just makes so much sense. There's so much untapped potential for the Rainbow Six Siege specific story. And probably last story, we're taking up a lot of time.
It doesn't matter.
There's this player called Abel, who goes by the in-game name of Dodo. We did a scouting round to find a player that we thought could be ready for Tier 1 about 7 months ago. And we used a system that a lot of people criticized, but I believed in. And through that system, we did the scouting. So we trialed about 50 people through that system. And eventually, very surprisingly, Dodo came out as number 1. And Dodo was playing the Hungarian National League. Now in Siege, nothing bad about the Hungarian National League. Like I've watched now a lot. That's not that high of a level of play. And he was again, nothing against Dodo, an average player there. So him winning that to us was incredibly surprising. So I had a conversation with Abel. I learned that he played water polo at a very, very high level. So he understood what professionalism was. He understood what a team environment was. He understood what earning his spot means. So we said, okay, Dodo, we don't think you're ready to play at Tier 1 yet, but we are willing to take you on with the team. We're going to support you. We're going to help you grow. And over time, we will build you up to be ready. So he's been now with us for about half a year. In this time, he has played against VP and G2 in official games 4 times. And he'd done well. He didn't stick out as a sore thumb. He wasn't absolutely carrying the team, which I don't expect him at that point in time. But he was holding his own. And he felt like he blended in. If you would remove all the names, nobody would have known that was a rookie that's 18 years old, barely 18 years old, playing. And now he played the Hungarian League again on loan to another team called WYLDE Multigaming, of course, perfect name. And in his first 2 maps, he went 27-10. And we're so proud of him. Plucked from obscurity.
You know what's crazy? On Rainbow Six, on NA, Sonics released Gunner.
Yeah, I saw the tweets.
Yeah, he released Gunner. And Gunner went with Beast Coast. And, the media is, the internet is the internet. People were just trash talking him and, they let you go because you're trash. You're no good. And guess what? He won a major, Manchester.
Yeah.
And won it. And they didn't, the manager, which I know, Seth, Super said, we didn't let him go because he was a bad player. We let him go because of certain roles didn't fit in with the other players. Because each player's, one's their flex, one is, support.
Yeah.
And his roles was very different. So it didn't kind of like function. The puzzle didn't fix in well. So guess what? His role, the way he's used to, worked perfectly with Beast Coast to the point they just won a major.
Yep.
Not because the player is bad. It's because, things just didn't kind of like work out because it's a different role.
Yeah, and that's always a difficult decision to make if you have to make it work in a certain structure, and it happens to people. It's difficult, and luckily enough, well, not luckily enough, Packpool was one of those decisions to a degree, that you have to make a certain system work, and how do people fit in, and how does it come together, and I'm trying to think of people that we've let go because we wanted to, and they might not have wanted to. That ended up in a great place. But as far as right now, that's not the case yet. So I think we've made pretty decent decisions up till now. And though every single one of them is a player, but sometimes, when you play sports, traditional sports, and you're, let's say, a college basketball player, someone will tell you when you're not going to make it, and that you have to make sure that you sort your life out. In esports, nobody tells you that you're not going to make it. And everybody is just going to continue to play, and then you catch yourself being 25 with no job, no education, and then what you're going to do.
That's tough. This is why I tell everybody, a lot of these pro players, listen, yes, you're a pro now, but also do content creation, do something else, keep studying, because you never know. Because you need a backup plan. Not everybody's going to be successful and going to be ending up like a Jinxie or ending up like a Summit 1G and having that type of fame with someone has 6 point something million followers on Twitch, so make sure you do know what you're doing, play smart, and do the right thing, and always have a backup plan, because you just never know.
Yeah.
Well, Rene, it's that time, brother. Yes, I know we could go on for hours, because there's chemistry. There's people, when the chemistry clicks in, you kind of know, well, this person, we could carry on long conversations.
Yeah.
But I know you're a busy man and you got things to do, so.
It's 10 o'clock in the evening here, but I still have things to do.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. It is 4 o'clock here, so.
Yeah.
Man, it was such an honor, bro.
Thank you.
Such
Same
an honor.
here.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'll make sure this won't be the last time, man.
I'll tell you, so this is my first podcast.
Yeah, this is your first and not the last. Not the last. I'm sure going to bring you on later on in the future, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Such an honor. Listen, I give everybody a minute to the stage. Tell everybody the socials, website, skins. Advertise the heck out of everything. Your Twitter account, WYLDE, everything. Stage is yours, man. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not here for the fame. I'm not here for any personal fame. What I would say, if you want to follow anything or want to support me personally anyway, follow WYLDE. That's where I put my heart and soul in. And if they get bigger, I get bigger, and that's the most important.
Okay, but if they want to follow you on Twitter,
I don't even know my Twitter handle from the top of my head, man.
God.
Let me look it up.
Okay, guys, is WYLDE Rene? Okay,
no, it's not WYLDE Rene. My handle isn't WYLDE Rene.
But it is well, yeah, that's true. But it's at face_RL.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Now I've got to help him out, guys. Look at that.
Thank you.
I got to help him out. He's the esports manager for WYLDE _GG. Make sure you guys follow the org and also follow him to get the latest and greatest, So follow him. Well, folks, it was fun. This was a fun episode with our man, Rene from Team WYLDE. Okay, guys. You know what time is it? Till next time, God bless you. Take care. Peace. We're good.
Thank you.